The doors to the Krythax flagship's bridge exploded inward. Sergeant Deho stepped through the smoke, his armor scarred and dented. Behind him, 12 Marines spread out in combat formation. Their weapons were ready. Warlord Thexus stood in the center of his bridge. His command crew was dead or dying around him. He held a massive blade in his hands. Even wounded, he towered over the humans. "You have doomed your species," Thexus snarled. His voice was like grinding stone. "The Dominion will come for you. We will burn your worlds, kill your families. Your primitive people will be wiped from the stars." Deho walked forward slowly. His railgun was pointed at the warlord's chest. "You came here to kill 12,000 civilians, families, children. You expected to do it without anyone stopping you. That is the way of the galaxy. The strong take what they want, not anymore." Deho pulled the trigger. The railgun round hit Thexus in the chest. The warlord's armor cracked. He staggered back. But he didn't fall. He roared and charged forward, blade raised. Deho fired again, and again. 3 more rounds? Thexus's armor shattered. Black blood poured from his wounds. But he kept coming. The warlord swung his blade. Deho barely dodged. The blade sparked off his armor. He rolled, came up firing. The other Marines opened fire too. Dozens of rounds hit the warlord. Thexus finally fell. He crashed to the deck. His red eyes stared up at Deho with hatred and disbelief. "How?" the warlord gasped. "How did you—" "Because we don't give up," Deho said. "Because we came here to save people. And because you picked the wrong enemy." Thexus's eyes went dark. The warlord of the Krythax Dominion died on his own bridge, killed by humans he had dismissed as primitive. Deho tapped his communicator. "Captain Minho, the flagship is secure. Enemy commander is dead." Minho's voice came back. "Understood. Get our people out of there. We need to check on the station." The Marines withdrew from the Krythax flagship. They moved quickly through corridors filled with dead warriors. 30 Marines had gone in. 23 came out. 7 had died securing the ship. Deho looked at each face as they returned. These were good soldiers. They had done their job. But the cost was written in their eyes. Combat always had a cost. The indomitable will pulled away from the captured flagship and moved toward Talvera Station. The station was dark. Sections were breached. Emergency force fields flickered. It looked dead. "Scan for life signs," Minho ordered. G1 worked her console. "I'm reading. Multiple life signs. Thousands of them. Sir, people are still alive in there." Relief flooded through Minho. They hadn't been too late. Not completely. "Hail the station." Static filled the channel. Then a voice came through. Weak, exhausted. This is Talvera Station. Who? "This is Captain Minho of the Indomitable Will. The Krythax fleet has been destroyed. You're safe now." Silence. Then the voice came again. Hugh's voice. He was crying. "You came. You actually came. Hold on. We're sending help." Minho turned to his crew. "Dr. Sora, prepare medical teams. Deho, send Marines to help secure the station. Hana, we need emergency power to their critical systems." The bridge crew moved immediately. Everyone had a job. Everyone knew what to do. "Captain, I'm detecting movement," Jiwan said. "The disabled Krythax cruiser. It's trying to restart its engines." Minho looked at the tactical display. The damaged cruiser was drifting, but its crew was working to bring systems back online. If they succeeded, they might escape. They might report back to the Krythax Dominion. Can we stop them? Our weapons are at 40% capacity. Shields are down. We took a lot of damage in that fight, Minho considered. One more fight might cripple his ship completely. But if that cruiser escaped, it could bring more Krythax. The whole Dominion might come for revenge. Target their engines. "Fire when ready." The Indomitable Will turned. Her railguns, damaged but functional, tracked the enemy cruiser. 3 rounds fired, 2 hit. The cruiser's engines exploded. The ship went completely dark. No more threats, G1 confirmed. Minho allowed himself to breathe. The battle was over. They had won, but the cost was becoming clear. Damage reports flooded in. The Indomitable Will had taken heavy hits. 30 crew members were dead. 60 more wounded. Hull breaches on 5 decks. Main engines were damaged. Shields were offline. The quantum drive was barely functioning. In the medical bay, Dr. Sora worked frantically. Bodies were everywhere. Some were her crew. Some were Marines from the boarding action. She moved from bed to bed, saving who she could. A young technician named Jinwoo died while she was operating on him. He was 19 years old. This was his first deployment. Sora closed his eyes and moved to the next patient. She couldn't stop. Couldn't grieve, not yet. Too many people still needed her. The Indomitable Will docked with Talvera Station. Airlocks connected. Marine teams went in first, weapons ready. They found carnage. The Krythax had killed hundreds before the human ship arrived. Bodies filled the corridors, but thousands more were alive, hiding in sealed sections, trapped in emergency shelters, wounded but breathing. Yuck met the Marines in the station's control center. He looked like he'd aged 20 years. Blood covered his uniform. His arm was bandaged, but he was alive. How many? Tejo asked. 9,000 maybe. We lost 3,000. The Krythax. Yuck couldn't finish, we know. We saw. Human medical teams spread through the station. Dr. Sora sent every available doctor and nurse. They set up emergency treatment areas, triage stations. The wounded were everywhere. Velen with broken shells, Morphe-leaking fluids, Shavine with cracked crystal bodies. The humans treated them all. One human nurse, Somin, worked on a Velen child. The child was scared, clicking in pain. Somin didn't speak the language, but she spoke softly anyway. Gently. She bandaged the wounds, gave medication, stayed with the child until its parent arrived. The Velen parent looked at Somin with huge compound eyes. Thank you. Thank you for coming, Somin nodded. She couldn't speak. If she spoke, she would cry. On the Indomitable Will's bridge, Minho received a transmission. It was from New Busan. Admiral Yunji's face appeared on the screen. She looked furious. Captain Minho, you are ordered to return to New Busan immediately. You have violated direct orders. You have engaged in unauthorized combat. You have started an incident that could lead to war with the Krythax Dominion. Minho listened silently. Do you have anything to say? Yes, Admiral. I saved 12,000 lives. 9,000 of them are still alive because we came here. I would make the same choice again. You may face court-martial for this. I understand. Admiral Yunji was quiet for a moment. Then her expression softened slightly. Get your ship home, Captain. We'll deal with the rest when you arrive. The transmission ended. Jiwan looked at Minho. Are they really going to court-martial you? Probably. That's not right. You saved all those people. Sometimes doing the right thing means facing consequences. Over the next 3 days, the Indomitable Will and Talvera Station worked together. Human engineers helped repair the station's critical systems. Medical teams treated thousands of wounded. Marines helped clear debris and recover bodies. The aliens watched the humans work with growing amazement. These people who had come so far, who had risked everything, now helped rebuild. They didn't ask for payment, didn't demand gratitude. They just worked. Yuk found Minho in the station's observation deck. The human captain stood looking out at space, at the wreckage of the Krythax fleet floating in the dark. Why did you come? Hyuk asked. You didn't know us. We're not part of your alliance. You had orders not to engage. Minho was quiet for a long moment. When I was young, I learned about Earth's history. All the times people didn't help when they should have. All the times they looked away because it was easier. Because it was safer. We almost destroyed ourselves that way. He turned to look at Hayek. When we came to space, we promised ourselves we would be better, that we wouldn't be the species that looks away. So when your message came, I had to respond. Not because of orders or politics. Because it was the right thing to do. You saved 9,000 lives, we lost 3,000. I wish we'd gotten here sooner. You got here at all. That's more than anyone else did. Word of the battle spread across the galaxy. News traveled through communication networks. The story grew with each telling. 1 human ship against 7 Krythax warships. Impossible odds. But the humans had won. Some species celebrated. Others worried. The Galactic Council called emergency meetings. The Krythax Dominion issued threats. Political experts debated what it meant. But on Talvera Station, the survivors knew exactly what it meant. It meant someone had cared. Someone had come when no one else would. Someone had fought for them. The aliens started calling the human ship by a new name, not the Indomitable Will. They called it the ship that answered. 4 days after the battle, the Indomitable Will prepared to leave. Repairs were complete enough for the journey home. The wounded were stable. The dead were prepared for the trip back. Thousands of aliens came to see the humans off. They filled the docking bay. They stood in silence as the human crew prepared to depart. Yuk approached Minho one last time. We owe you our lives. You owe us nothing. Take care of each other. Rebuild, live. We will. And we'll remember. The galaxy will remember. The Indomitable will undocked from Talvera Station. Her engines ignited. Damaged but unbowed, the human warship turned toward home. The control center at Talvera Station was dark. Emergency lights cast red shadows across broken consoles. Hugh sat in his chair, covered in blood. Some of it was his. Most of it wasn't. The Krythax had been boarding for 4 hours now. Section by section, they cut through the station's defenses. Hyuk could hear weapons fire echoing through the corridors. Screaming. Then silence. Then more screaming. Bora was dead. She had died defending the communications array. The Krythax had torn through the door and she had stood her ground with nothing but a metal pipe. She had lasted 30 seconds. Half his crew was dead. The other half scattered throughout the station, fighting with whatever they could find. Civilians used tools as weapons. The Velen had their natural claws. The Morphe flooded sections with water. The Shavine overloaded power conduits to electrocute the attackers. It didn't matter. The Krythax kept coming. Hyuk looked at the tactical display. 3 Krythax ships had docked with the station. The other 4 waited outside, weapons ready to destroy any escape attempt. Not that anyone could escape. All the transports were gone. Destroyed or captured, a door behind him exploded inward. Hyuk turned. 3 Krythax warriors entered. They were massive, nearly 3 meters tall, with gray-black skin like stone. They carried weapons that hummed with power. Hyuk picked up a broken piece of metal. He knew it was pointless. But he would die fighting. The lead Krythax laughed. It sounded like rocks grinding together. The commander. Thexus wants you alive. Drop the weapon. Come and take it, Hyuk said. The Krythax raised his weapon. Hyuk prepared to die. Then every alarm in the control center started screaming. The Krythax paused. One of them checked a device on his arm. His red eyes widened. Unknown vessel. Approaching fast. Very fast. Deal with it later, the leader growled. Take the commander. But the alarms grew louder. The whole station shook. On the tactical display, something impossible appeared. A massive energy signature dropping out of quantum space right at the edge of the system. Hyuk stared at the display. The signature was huge, bright, and it was moving toward them at a speed that made no sense. Ships didn't move that fast. They couldn't. The Krythax leader spoke into his communicator. Warlord Thexus, we have an unknown contact. Thexus's voice came back, angry and confused. I see it. What is it? Unknown. But it's decelerating. Hard. On the Krythax flagship, Thexus watched his displays with growing concern. The unknown ship was braking so violently that it tore at space itself. Energy readings were off the scale. The ship's engines screamed across every frequency. Identify that vessel, Thexus ordered. His tactical officer worked frantically. No match in our database. Design is unknown. But wait, I'm picking up a signal. It's broadcasting identification. What species? Human, Thexus blinked. Humans, the primitives? The species barely 10 years into space travel? It made no sense. But his sensors didn't lie. The ship was there, real and solid and moving like nothing he'd ever seen. The human ship dropped out of quantum space. It was smaller than his warships, but sleek. Deadly looking. Its hull glowed white-hot from the brutal deceleration. Energy crackled around it like lightning. A message came through. A human voice speaking in clear galactic standard. Krythax Fleet, this is Captain Minho of the Human Defense Force. You will cease hostilities immediately and withdraw from this system. Thexus felt his confidence return. 1 ship, 1 small ship against his 7? The humans were either brave or stupid. Probably stupid. He opened a channel. Unknown vessel, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Withdraw or be destroyed with the station. The human response came quickly. The voice was cold, hard. You were warned. Weapons free, Thexus laughed. Then his laughter died. The human ship opened fire. Railgun rounds tore through space. Solid metal slugs, each one traveling at 15% the speed of light. The Krythax shields were designed to stop energy weapons, beams, plasma. They had fought enemies using those weapons for 300 years. They had never fought kinetic weapons before. The first rounds hit the shield of Thexus's nearest cruiser. The shield didn't stop them. Didn't even slow them. The tungsten slugs punched through like the shield wasn't there. The cruiser's hull exploded. Atmosphere vented. Then its reactor went critical. The ship died in a ball of fire. The second cruiser didn't even have time to react. 20 railgun rounds hit it in 3 seconds. The ship came apart like paper. Texas stared in shock. 2 ships gone in less than 30 seconds. What kind of weapons were these? All ships, evasive action. Return fire. His remaining 5 ships scattered. They launched missiles, fired beam weapons, unleashed everything they had. The human ship moved. It twisted through space with impossible agility. Point defense systems shot down every missile before they could get close. The Krithax beams hit the human ship's shields and dissipated harmlessly. Texas couldn't believe what he was seeing. The human shields handled energy weapons easily. Just as his shields couldn't stop kinetic weapons, theirs couldn't stop his beams. But the humans didn't need shield protection. They were too fast, too agile. The human ship dove between 2 of his warships, railguns firing constantly. 1 ship took hits along its side. Explosions ripped through its hull. It tried to turn, to bring its weapons to bear, but the human ship was already gone. Another of his ships exploded. 3 ships dead in 2 minutes. All vessels, concentrate fire. Texas roared. Surround it. Don't let it escape. His remaining 4 ships tried to form a box around the human vessel. If they could trap it, overwhelm it with crossfire, they might still win. The human ship didn't try to escape. It accelerated directly toward Texas's flagship. At Talvera Station, Hayek watched the battle in awe. The human ship moved like nothing he'd ever seen. It wasn't just fast. It was alive. It danced between the Krithax vessels, weapons blazing, shields flickering under enemy fire but never failing. The Krithax warriors in the control center stared at the displays. Their confidence was gone. Fear replaced it. They had never seen anyone fight their warships like this. No one fought the Krithax. Everyone surrendered or died. The humans weren't surrendering. On the indomitable will, Jiwan called out targets. 2 more cruisers at 37 Mark 5. They're trying to flank us. I see them, Minho said. His hands moved across the controls. The ship rolled, presenting its ventral weapons. Railguns fired. The cruiser on the left took 3 hits and went dark. Their flagship is charging main weapons, Jiwan warned. Big ones. How big? Big enough to crack a moon. Then we don't let them fire. Deho, prepare boarding teams. In the armory, Sergeant Deho grinned. You heard the captain? We're going inside, his Marines whooped. They had been waiting for this. Watching the ship battle was fine, but Marines wanted to fight face to face. Check your suits. Check your weapons. We board in 5 minutes. The indomitable will accelerated toward the Krithax flagship. Texas's ship fired everything it had. Beams, missiles, kinetic rounds. The human ship took hits. Shields flared. Warning alarms sounded. On the bridge, damage reports came in fast. Shield Generator 2 is down. Hull breach on Deck 4. Casualties in Section 9. Keep going, Minho ordered. Get us alongside that flagship. The 2 ships closed. The Krithax flagship was 3 times the size of the human ship, covered in weapons and armor. But the indomitable will was faster, meaner. It slid alongside the flagship's hull, so close they were almost touching. At this range, the flagship's big guns couldn't hit them. The human ship's smaller weapons could. Railguns punched holes in the flagship's armor. Plasma cutters burned through hull plating. The indomitable will created a dozen entry points. Boarding teams, go, Minho ordered. Marine shuttles launched from the human ship. They crossed the gap in seconds. Magnetic clamps locked onto the Krithax hull. Plasma cutters began burning through. Inside the flagship, alarms rang. Texas watched his displays in growing horror. The humans were boarding him. Boarding a Krithax warship. It was unthinkable. All warriors to repel boarders. Kill them all! Krithax warriors rushed through the corridors. They were bigger than humans, stronger. They had fought 100 species. They weren't afraid of anything. The first human Marine came through the breached hull. The Krithax warriors opened fire. The Marine's armor took the hits and kept moving. He raised his weapon and fired. The railgun round punched through Krithax armor like it was cloth. The warrior fell. More humans poured through. They moved in teams, covering each other, advancing in disciplined formation. Their weapons made sounds like thunder. Every shot killed. The Krithax warriors had never faced anything like this. These humans were small, but they fought like demons. They didn't hesitate, didn't retreat. They just kept coming. Sergeant Deho led his team toward the bridge. Krithax warriors tried to stop them. Deho shot the first one in the head. The second in the chest. The third tried to punch him. Deho blocked the punch, broke the warrior's arm, and shot him. Keep moving. The bridge is 3 corridors ahead. His Marines fought their way forward. The corridors were narrow, good for close combat. The Krythax were strong, but the humans were faster, better trained, more disciplined, and angrier. These Krythax had been about to massacre 12,000 civilians. Deho had seen the bodies on Talvera Station, seen what they did to people who couldn't fight back. Every Marine had seen it. They weren't taking prisoners. The indomitable Will screamed through space. Her engines burned so hot they glowed white. Inside, the ship shook constantly. Every rivet rattled. Every pipe groaned. The crew had to shout to be heard over the noise. In the engine room, Hana lived in hell. The temperature was 40 degrees hotter than normal. Sweat poured down her face. Her team worked in shifts, but she never left. Every few minutes, something threatened to fail. Cooling System 3 is redlining, her assistant called out. Hana ran to the panel. The numbers were all wrong. The coolant should be flowing at 200 liters per minute. It was barely managing 100. Bypass it, she ordered. Route the coolant through the secondary system. The secondary can't handle this load. It'll handle it or we all die. Do it. The assistant's hands flew across the controls. The secondary system kicked in. The temperature dropped, but only by a few degrees. Hana wiped sweat from her eyes. They had been running like this for 3 days. 4 more to go. She didn't know if the ship would make it. She didn't know if she would make it. Chief, we've got a crack in the quantum drive housing, another engineer called. Hana felt her stomach drop. A crack in the housing meant radiation could leak into the ship. Small amounts wouldn't kill anyone immediately, but over time it would make the whole crew sick. How bad? Growing. Maybe 3 centimeters now. It'll spread as we keep pushing, seal it. Use the emergency patches and put up radiation shielding around that whole section. That'll take hours. Then work fast. On the bridge, Jawan barely slept. She studied every file about the Krythax she could find. Battle reports. Ship designs. Known tactics. She needed to find a weakness, something, anything. The Krythax used energy shields. Strong ones. Most species in the galaxy used energy weapons, so the Krythax shields were designed to stop beams and plasma, but humans used different weapons. Railguns. Kinetic weapons. Old-fashioned metal slugs fired at incredible speed. Would the Krythax shield stop them? Jiwon didn't know. Maybe. Maybe not. She ran simulations. The computer showed the indomitable Will against 7 Krythax warships. Every simulation ended the same way. The human ship died first. The odds were just too bad unless she changed the rules. Jiwon studied the files again. Krythax ships were big, heavy. They relied on armor and shields, but that made them slow. The indomitable Will was smaller, lighter, more agile. She started building new tactics. Hit and run. Stay close where their big guns couldn't track. Target their engines first, then their weapons. Don't let them surround you. Keep moving. Always moving, it might work. Probably wouldn't. But it was better than nothing. In the armory, Deho drilled his Marines until they could barely stand. They practiced breaching procedures, boarding actions, close quarters combat. Every Marine knew they might have to fight the Krythax hand-to-hand. Again, Deho barked. His team groaned but obeyed. They set up the training scenario again. 3 Marines with plasma cutters, 2 with rifles, 1 with explosives. They practiced cutting through a door, clearing a room, securing the area. Faster, Deho ordered. The Krythax are bigger than you, stronger. If you're slow, you're dead. The Marines went again, and again, and again. One young Marine, Taeyang, finally collapsed. Sergeant, we've been at this for 6 hours. And when we board a Krythax ship, you think they'll give you a break? You think they'll let you rest? Deho walked over to Taeyang. Get up, 5 more runs. Then you can sleep. Taeyang got up. Deho watched them work. He had seen combat before, back on Earth. He knew what real fighting looked like. These kids were good, well-trained. But training and real combat were different things. When the shooting started, when people started dying, everything changed. He hoped they would be ready. He hoped he was ready. In the medical bay, Dr. Sora prepared for the worst. She had 40 beds. She requested 50 more from storage. Then 75. She covered every available floor space with emergency medical gear. Her staff looked at her with worry. Doctor, are you expecting that many casualties? A nurse asked. I'm expecting more, Sora said quietly. And I want to be ready. She organized supplies by priority. Trauma first. Burn second. Radiation sickness third. She set up triage areas, color-coded sections for different severity of injuries. She prepared for dozens of casualties, or hundreds. She tried not to think about it. But the thoughts came anyway. How many of her friends would she have to treat? How many would die despite her best efforts? How many empty beds would she have when this was over? Sora pushed the thoughts away and kept working. On the bridge, Minho watched the clock count down. 4 days to Talvera Station. The crew was exhausted. The ship was falling apart. But they kept going. Reports came in constantly. An overheated conduit on Deck 3. A cracked support beam on Deck 7. The air recyclers were working at 90%. The water recyclers at 85%. Everything was slowly breaking. Captain, we've got another radiation leak. Hana's voice came over the intercom. She sounded exhausted. Small one. I'm sealing it now. How much longer can we maintain this speed? Minho asked, a pause. Honestly, I don't know. The quantum drive was never designed for this. We might make it all 7 days. Or it might explode in the next hour. Every minute is a gamble. Keep gambling. Yes, sir. Minho closed his eyes. He hadn't slept properly in 3 days. Every time he tried, he saw the faces of those civilians at Talvera Station. 12,000 people, families, children, all waiting to die. G1 approached his chair. Captain, you should rest. I can take the bridge. I'm fine. You're dead on your feet. That doesn't help anyone. Minho looked at her. Jiwan's face was drawn with exhaustion, too. Everyone was running on willpower and caffeine. 4 hours, he said. Wake me if anything changes. He went to his quarters, lay on his bed, closed his eyes. But sleep wouldn't come. His mind kept running through scenarios. Battle plans, tactics, ways they might survive this. He couldn't find any that worked. On the 3rd day, they received a message. It came through on emergency channels, repeating every hour. Minho recognized the voice. Admiral Yunji from New Busan Command. Captain Minho, this is a direct order. You are to abort your current mission and return to New Busan immediately. You have violated standing orders. You are unauthorized to engage hostile forces. Return at once or face court-martial. Minho listened to the message. Then he deleted it. Jiwan watched him. We could turn back. It's not too late. Yes, it is. Captain, those people are depending on us, Jiwan. We're probably the only help they're going to get. I'm not turning back, Jiwan nodded slowly. Then neither am I. The crew heard about the message. It spread through the ship in minutes. Everyone knew they were disobeying orders now. When they got back, if they got back, there would be consequences. Nobody asked to turn around. On the 4th day, disaster almost struck. The quantum drive started to overheat beyond safe limits. Hana and her team fought for 6 hours to keep it running. They rerouted power. They jury-rigged new cooling systems. They literally held parts together with their hands while others welded emergency repairs. Come on, you piece of junk. Hana whispered to the drive. Just 3 more days. Hold together for 3 more days. The drive temperature climbed higher into the red zone. Past it. Into ranges that should have triggered automatic shutdown. Then slowly it began to drop. The emergency cooling worked. The repairs held. Hana almost cried with relief. On the 5th day, they received another message. This one was from Talvera Station. Bora's voice sounded hollow with despair. This is Talvera Station. The Krythax attack has begun. They're boarding us. We're sealing sections, but they're cutting through. To anyone hearing this, there's no more time. Don't risk yourselves. Just remember us. The message cut off. Minho stood frozen on the bridge. They were still 2 days away. 2 days. They had pushed so hard, risked everything, and they were going to be too late. How far? He asked quietly. 48 hours at current speed, Jiwan said. Her voice was tight. Can we go faster? Captain, we're already at maximum. Minho hit the comm button. Hana, I need more speed. There is no more speed. Hana's voice cracked. I'm giving you everything. The drive is barely holding together as it is. I need more. A long silence. Then Hana spoke again. Her voice was different, determined. Give me 1 hour. In engineering, Hana looked at her team. Strip everything. I mean everything. Life support to minimal. Cut power to all non-essential systems. Lights, gravity, anything we don't absolutely need. Feed it all to the drive. Chief, that's insane. Do it anyway. For the next hour, the indomitable will went dark. Lights cut out in most of the ship. Gravity failed in entire sections. The crew floated in darkness, holding on to whatever they could find. Only the bridge, engineering, and medical bay kept power. All of that energy fed into the quantum drive. The ship jumped forward. Her speed increased. Not by much, but enough. 36 hours, G1 announced. If we maintain this 36 hours. Maintain it, Minho ordered. The crew floated in the dark. Cold crept through the ship as life support cut to minimum. They wore emergency suits. They huddled together for warmth. They waited. Nobody complained. They all knew why they were doing this. On the 6th day, another message came from Talvera Station. This time it was just screaming. Then silence. Minho listened to it once. Then he turned it off. He couldn't do anything. Captain Minho stood on the bridge of the indomitable will, staring at the message on his screen. He had read it 3 times already. Each time his jaw tightened a little more. Distress signal from Talvera Station, Lieutenant Jiwan said beside him. She was his tactical officer, young but sharp. They're under attack by the Krythax Dominion. 7 warships. They're asking for help. How far? Minho asked. 8 days at maximum jump speed. Maybe less if we push the engines hard. Minho looked at the star chart. Talvera Station was a tiny point of light. So far from human space, it might as well be in another galaxy. He zoomed out. Their own position near New Busan looked equally small. Get me everything we have on the Krythax, he said. Jiwan's fingers danced across her console. Files appeared on the main screen. Minho read them with growing anger. The Krythax Dominion controlled 15 star systems. They had a fleet of over 200 warships. They conquered weaker species and took them as slaves. They had done this for over 300 years. The Galactic Council had tried to stop them twice. Both times the Krythax had won. Now everyone just stayed out of their way. What's our current status? Minho asked. All systems operational, G1 replied. Crew is at 80%. We were supposed to start patrol rotation tomorrow. Call everyone to battle stations. I want a full briefing in 10 minutes. G1 hesitated. Captain, the Galactic Council has issued direct orders. No one is to engage the Krythax. It could start a larger war. Minho turned to look at her. His eyes were hard. I heard the orders. Call the briefing. 10 minutes later, Minho's senior staff gathered in the briefing room. Lieutenant Jiwan brought her tactical reports. Sergeant Deho commanded the Marine units, a scarred veteran with steady hands. Chief Engineer Hana looked tired from a long shift but alert. Dr. Sora, the medical officer, came with her emergency kits already prepared. Minho displayed the distress signal for everyone to see. Talvera Station, 12,000 civilians, 7 Krythax warships. They have less than 30 hours before the attack begins. We can't make it in 30 hours, Hana said immediately. 8 days minimum, and that's if we don't blow out the engines. What if we pushed past safety limits? Minho asked. Hana frowned. She pulled up engine specifications on her tablet. Her fingers moved quickly across the screen, calculating. If we run the quantum drive at 120%, if we skip the cooling cycles, if we cut life support to non-essential areas. She looked up. Maybe 7 days. But Captain, we could burn out the whole system. We'd be stranded. But we could get there, Minho said. Silence filled the room. Everyone understood what he was suggesting. Sergeant Deho spoke first. His voice was rough like gravel. Captain, I need to say this clearly. We're one ship. They have 7. The Krythax ships are bigger than us. More weapons, heavier armor. I know the odds, Minho said. And the Galactic Council orders, Jiwan added quietly. If we engage the Krythax, we violate every treaty humans have signed. We could start a war. The Council might even turn against us. I know that too. Dr. Sora leaned forward. Let me ask a different question. What happens if we don't go? What happens to those 12,000 people? No one answered. They die, Sora said simply. Or worse. The Krythax take them as slaves, do experiments on them. We all know the stories. It's not our responsibility, Jiwan said, but her voice was uncertain. We're barely 10 years into space travel. We have 3 ships in our entire fleet. We can't police the galaxy. She's right, Hana said. If we go, we might lose the indomitable will. That's 1/3 of humanity's defense force gone. What if someone attacks New Busan while we're away? Minho listened to all of them. These were good arguments. Smart arguments. They made perfect sense. He looked at each face around the table. "I understand your concerns," he said. "Every point you've made is valid. But let me ask you something. Why did we come to space?" The question surprised them. Why did humans build ships and leave Earth? Why did we push out into the dark? Was it just to find new resources? New planets? Minho shook his head. No. We came to space because we wanted to be better. We wanted to prove that humanity had learned from its mistakes, that we wouldn't ignore suffering when we had the power to stop it. He stood up, placing his hands on the table. 12,000 people are going to die. Not soldiers. Not warriors. Families, children. People who came to Talvera Station because they wanted peace. And they're going to die because everyone else is too afraid to help them. The Galactic Council, Jiwan started. The Galactic Council made a political decision, Minho interrupted. They decided that 12,000 lives aren't worth upsetting the Krythax. Maybe that makes sense for them. But we're not politicians. We're soldiers. And soldiers protect people who can't protect themselves. Deho crossed his arms. Even if it means we die too? Yes, Minho said without hesitation. Even then. Because if we turn away now, if we let fear stop us, then what's the point? Why did we build warships? Why did we train Marines? Why did we leave Earth at all? He looked each of them in the eyes. I'm not ordering anyone to come. This mission violates our orders. It might end badly. When we get back, if we get back, I'll probably face a court-martial. But I'm going. The indomitable will is going to Talvera Station. Anyone who wants to transfer off the ship has 1 hour to do it. The room was silent. Then Deho stood up. My Marines are ready, Captain. Give us the word, Hana sighed. I'll need to pull extra staff for engineering. We're going to be babysitting those engines every second. I'll prepare the medical bay, Sora said. We'll need space for casualties. Jiwan was the last to speak. She looked at her tactical display, then at Minho. I'll plot the fastest course, and I'll prepare battle plans for fighting 7 ships. Minho felt something tight in his chest loosen. Thank you. All of you. Don't thank us yet, Hana muttered. Thank us if we survive. 1 hour later, the call went out across the ship. Captain Minho explained the situation to all 500 crew members. He told them about Talvera Station. He told them about the Krythax. He told them this mission was voluntary. 3 people requested transfer. 3 out of 500, the rest stayed. Some because they believed in the mission, some because they trusted their captain, some because they couldn't imagine doing anything else. In the engine room, Hana and her team started preparations. They stripped non-essential systems for parts. They programmed the quantum drive to run beyond its designed limits. They built manual overrides for when the safety systems tried to shut everything down. In the armory, Deho inventoried weapons, railguns, plasma charges, breaching equipment. His Marines checked their armor and rehearsed boarding procedures. If they had to fight the Krythax hand-to-hand, they would be ready. In the medical bay, Sora organized supplies. She set up emergency surgical areas. She trained extra staff in trauma procedures. She tried not to think about how many beds she might need. On the bridge, G1 studied everything she could find about Krythax tactics. They relied on heavy weapons and strong shields. They liked to intimidate enemies into surrendering. They weren't used to fighting opponents who fought back hard. Maybe there was a weakness there. Maybe. Minho sat in his quarters and wrote a message to command. He explained his decision. He took full responsibility. He asked that no punishment fall on his crew. They were just following orders. His orders. He didn't know if command would read the message before they left. He didn't know if he would ever see New Busan again. But he had to try. Those 12,000 people at Talvera Station deserved someone to try. The indomitable will powered up her engines. The quantum drive hummed to life louder than usual as it prepared for the overload. Crew members strapped into their stations. The ship disconnected from the dock. All hands prepare for jump, Minho announced. We're going to push hard. Stay sharp. And remember why we're doing this. Hana's voice came over the intercom. Engines at 120%. Quantum drive charging. Captain, once we start, we can't stop. The drive needs to cool properly or it'll explode. Understood. G1, plot our course, a course locked. 7 days to Talvera Station if nothing breaks. Something will break, Hana muttered. Minho allowed himself a small smile. Then fix it. All hands, this is the captain. We didn't crawl out of Earth's gravity well just to watch innocent people die. Those civilians at Talvera Station think no one is coming. Let's prove them wrong. The indomitable will jumped. Space twisted around them. The ship accelerated to speeds that made the hull groan. Behind them, New Busan disappeared. Ahead, somewhere in the dark, Talvera Station waited, and the clock kept counting down. The warning alarm screamed through every corridor of Talvera Station. Commander Hayuk ran toward the control center, his boots pounding against the metal floor. Around him, civilians scattered in panic. Children cried. Parents grabbed their young ones and rushed toward the shelters. Hyuk burst through the doors of the control center. His team was already at their stations, fingers flying across displays. Bora, his communications officer, looked up with fear in her eyes. 7 ships, Commander. They just appeared from nowhere. They're surrounding us. Hyuk moved to the main display. His blood went cold. 7 massive warships formed a perfect circle around the station. He recognized their design immediately. Dark hulls covered in weapons, sharp angles that looked like teeth. The symbol of the Krythax Dominion blazed on each ship's side. Get me a channel to their commander, Hayuk ordered. The screen flickered. A face appeared that made several crew members gasp. The Krythax were tall, with gray-black skin that looked like stone. Their eyes glowed red. This one wore armor decorated with bones from a dozen different species. I am Warlord Thexus of the Krythax Dominion, the creature said. Its voice was like grinding rocks. Your station now belongs to us. You have 48 hours to surrender. If you refuse, we will destroy you all. This is a civilian station, Hyuk said, keeping his voice steady. We have 12,000 people here, women, children. We're not soldiers. We have no weapons, Thexus laughed. The sound made Hayek's skin crawl. That makes our job easier. 48 hours. We will be watching. The screen went dark. Hyuk turned to his team. Bora, send distress signals on every frequency. Contact every nearby system. Tell them we need help. Bora's fingers moved across her console. Minutes passed. Her face grew more worried with each passing moment. Commander, the nearest military force is 3 weeks away. The Galactic Council ships are even farther. We're too far out on the frontier. Nobody can reach us in time. Hyuk felt his hope crumbling. Talvera Station sat on the edge of known space. That's why so many refugees had come here. They wanted peace. They wanted to be far from wars and conflicts. Now that distance would kill them all. Keep sending signals, he said. Send them to everyone. Every system, every outpost, every colony. Even the human colony? Bora asked. Hyuk paused. Humans were new to space. They had only been traveling between stars for about 10 years. Most species saw them as primitive, weak. Their technology was old-fashioned. Their ships were slow, yes, Hyuk said. Even them. Send the signal everywhere. Around the station, the civilians tried to understand what was happening. The Velen, who looked like tall insects with smooth shells, gathered their families in their quarters. The Morphi, water breathers who wore special suits, sealed themselves in the wet zones. The Shavine, beings made of living crystal, dimmed their light in fear. Everyone had heard stories about the Krythax. They conquered weaker species. They took prisoners as slaves. Those slaves never came home. Some said the Krythax did experiments on other species. Some said things too horrible to speak out loud. Hyuk called a meeting of all the species representatives. They gathered in the main hall. Hyuk looked at their faces. He saw fear. He saw despair. I won't lie to you, he said. We're in danger. The Krythax have given us 48 hours to surrender, but help is too far away. No one can reach us in time. Then we should surrender, said one of the Velen elders. His voice clicked and buzzed. Maybe they will show mercy. The Krythax don't show mercy, said a Morphe leader. Her voice bubbled through her water suit. Everyone knows this. If we surrender, we become slaves. Or worse. Then what do? Asked a Shavine, its crystal body flashing with anxiety. We have no weapons. No defenses. How do we fight them? Hyuk straightened his shoulders. We do whatever we can. We seal the blast doors. We hide the children in the deepest parts of the station. We prepare emergency evacuations. And we hope that someone out there hears our call and comes to help. Hope? The Velen elder shook his head. Hope won't stop their weapons. Maybe not, Hyuk said. But it's all we have. In the control center, Bora continued sending distress signals. Her message went out in every language on every frequency. She included the station's coordinates. She described the threat. She begged for help. The signals traveled through space at the speed of light. They reached empty systems. They reached mining colonies too small to help. They reached trading posts that immediately closed their doors and went dark, afraid the Krythax would notice them too. One signal reached a human colony called New Busan. It sat 8 days away at the fastest possible speed. The humans had only 3 military ships in their fleet. All of them were old by galactic standards. One was in repairs. One was on patrol far away. The third was the indomitable Will. But Bora didn't know if the humans would even listen. Why would they risk their lives for strangers? Why would they challenge the Krythax, who could destroy their young colony with ease? The first day passed slowly. The Krythax ships didn't move. They just waited, watching. It was part of their strategy. Let the fear build. Let hope die. Make the prey understand they had no escape. Some of the civilians on Talvera Station started to break. Groups argued about whether to surrender. Some wanted to try to run in the small transport ships docked at the station. Others said that was suicide. The Krythax would shoot them down before they cleared the station. Hyuk barely slept. He walked through the station, trying to keep people calm. He visited the shelters where families huddled together. He spoke to the Velen, the Morphe, the Shavine, and all the others. He told them to stay strong. He told them help might still come. But in his heart, Hyuk was losing hope too. On the second day, a small transport ship tried to run. A family of Morphe couldn't take the waiting anymore. They powered up their ship and broke for open space. The Krythax response was immediate. One of their warships fired a single shot. The transport exploded in a ball of fire. There were no survivors. Thexus appeared on the screens again. That was a lesson. Anyone else who tries to run will die the same way. You have 24 hours remaining. Choose wisely. The station fell into dark silence after that. Even the children stopped crying. Everyone knew what was coming. In 24 hours, the Krythax would attack. They would board the station. They would take everyone prisoner, or they would just destroy the station and everyone in it. Hyuk sat in his quarters that night. He looked at the star charts on his wall. Talvera Station was a tiny dot in an ocean of space. They were so far from anyone who could help. So isolated, so alone. Bora's voice came through his communicator. Commander, the distress signal is still broadcasting. No responses yet. Keep it running, Hyuk said, though his voice was heavy with defeat. Keep it running until the end. He didn't believe anyone would come. But he had to keep trying. For the 12,000 souls depending on him. For the children in the shelters. For everyone who had come to Talvera Station seeking peace. Outside, the 7 Krythax warships waited in the darkness. Their weapons powered up. Their crews prepared for the attack. They had done this many times before. This would be easy. Inside the station, Hyuk closed his eyes. He thought about his home world. He thought about the life he'd left behind to command this remote outpost. He wondered if anyone would remember them after they were gone. The clock counted down. 23 hours. 22 hours, 21, and in the vast emptiness of space, Bora's distress signal continued to travel outward, searching desperately for anyone who would listen, anyone who would care, anyone who would come.